Well, hi there. This video has been a long time coming, but I'm finally picking back up with the KonMari method to go back into my kitchen and dive into the pantry and cabinets for the food, and also the fridge and the refrigerator. I'm guessing this is going to take me a couple of days to film just because I don't have that much time as I was hoping I would have with both kids in school, just between volunteering and appointments and going to the gym. So this may be broken up a little bit, but I'm going to start here in the pantry where the bulk of my food stuff is, as well as some other things that are not food, obviously. I'll bring you then over to this cabinet, which you may remember from the glass storage. But I also have some food stuffs, mostly snacks and mostly things for the kids. I'm going to go through the purchased jarred things, but I'm not going to go through my canned goods because those are all put away this summer, and I know that they're good and I know that they're staying. So next, over to the next pantry, and we have grains and dressings and canned goods, and then finally this pantry has the baking supplies. So this is all of the food and to make food sort of stuff that's not refrigerated or frozen. I also have a cabinet for tea and coffee, which I'm going to do separately just to save some space and on the counters, and then I'm going to do the refrigerator and the freezer separately as well. So I'm going to dive right in and start getting everything down. Okay, well, I am certainly overwhelmed by the quantity. There's more down there of bulk foods. So a quick overview. Spices and such, and mostly of the baking stuff is back there. This is all candy and marshmallows and gum. More baking supplies. We're getting into the grains and sauces. Down here I have the snack tray for the kids, so when I'm making their snacks for school or if they want to snack during the day, they know where to go and get it. Again, this was all the bulk stuff that was down at the very bottom. Cereals and sauces and dressings, the boys' candy left over from various holidays, more baking stuff, and then to show you the cabinets. So this is empty save for cupcake liners because they're not food. I have some ice trays, they're Star Wars themed that I used for my son's birthday, a pasta maker, and an empty container for when I make pasta I put it in there. The rest of those are empty. This is an empty container that my sons put M&Ms or Skittles in. My in-laws gave it to them, and they bring them candy usually when they come to visit. So that's what that's from. All this is toddler eating implements, but not actual food. I got those out. Again, these are the things that I canned this summer, and so they're staying there. And empty jars, and that's craft and canning stuff. And then into the pantry. So those are the Ziploc bags from the storage video. Those are tools and plates, and then down here we have empty egg cartons because we have chickens, and so back when they were laying, they're currently on a laying strike apparently, we used to fill all those up and give them away, and then a couple of craft things for the boys, and then cat food and my coupons down there. So I've got a lot of sorting to do. I'm going to get to it and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so things are fitting better on here. Still got our bulk foods down there and the kids' snack tray there, but everything else is onto the table, onto the counter. I'll go through quickly what we've purged. So some of these are just almost empty or actually empty things. The honeys, this honey is still good at the bottom, but it's crystallized, so I'm going to heat it up and then I can use it again and pour it all into the current bottle because honey doesn't expire like that, and local honey is like gold. Candies and gums that my boys won't eat, and I just don't see the point in giving it to anyone else, especially because it's older. Some cereals that my youngest stopped eating like a year ago, and they're just probably not the best anymore. Old chips from Moe's. Empty bags, that's what some of these are. Just things I was able to fill up in there. A couple of things that were unopened, which is very sad, but we have the thing of dressing and a thing of tahini, both of which were unopened. This is stuff, I'm obviously not getting rid of the bowls, but it was stuff that I was using to make my son's birthday stuff a year ago for his 4th birthday, and it's just chipped on here, so it seemed like too much of a pain to deal with, so I'm going to finally deal with it now after it's been sitting in my pantry for a year. I'm also going to rinse this out and save it. little things, millet, I could never get my kids to eat this, and it's just gone bad by now. Almonds that have gone down, an empty box. Crackers that have gone bad. This, again, I'm going to empty out. It just has a little bit of rice that's just probably old at this point. Again, I'll rinse this out. This was some glutinous rice flour that we used to make mochi back when we lived in South Carolina. So it's been around for quite a while. Moved with us twice now, I guess. And definitely can be gotten rid of. Some spices that are either empty or they're older and I don't want to use them. We used to make bubble tea, and so we got a whole bunch of this Turani syrup. Now I still do use syrup, so when I make coffee or lattes, but I make my own, and so I've looked online and these do not go bad. So the ones that are unopened, I have a big bottle and a little bottle. I'll see about gifting to someone. See if anyone posted online, see if anyone wants it for free, and then I'll save the pump just in case we ever have a use for it, because it is a useful thing for a bottle like this, and get rid of the open one. Some garlic and some herbs just aren't that great, and then everything else is being kept. I do try and keep my pantries relatively clean, and we go through stuff often because I'm cooking, and the boys I have 2 boys, and so they eat a lot, so there's not that much time for stuff to go bad, thankfully, and I meal plan, so I only purchase what we're going to use that week. So mostly, I think we did pretty well. Obviously, it's still a lot of food, but since I do make most things from scratch, a lot of it is the baking supplies, because I use all sorts of weird things for that, and then just the snacks and things to make meals for the rest of the week. And the stuff we stock up on that takes a lot of space, but it goes through slowly because it has longer expiration dates. So let me get everything back in the cabinets, and I will show you how it all looks, and then we will move on. I think we'll move on to the tea and coffee cabinet for next time. So hold on one. So quickly, a couple other things that were hiding in the wealth that I wanted to get rid of. Just a couple of empty boxes. This I bought for sensory play, and we just never used it, so I got it for free with coupons, so I'm not losing anything. Some shortening that had gone bad. We have plenty of this non-fat dry milk, and I just don't think I need to save the partly opened one. And then some cocoa mix that I made up that I just really didn't like, so I don't think I really want to use it. So here we have again the purge pile, and now we get into the nice clean cabinets. So all of my baking supplies, canned goods, and grains, and an empty top shelf. Homemade canning, and kids' snacks, candy sort of stuff that I don't want them to be able to get themselves. That's why it's up on the counter. And then, whoops, we get into the pantry. So we have candies and gums and marshmallows, and then the plastic storage bags, my spices and extracts and some syrups, ketchups, vinegars, syrups, some oils, and then cereals and ice cream cones, and this is some tomatoes from the garden, and then there are a couple of chips back there we don't access often. And the kids' snack area, and down here we still have the bulk area, so there's excess of the granola bars, my husband's cereal, and I need to get a container for the baking soda there, but so far I don't have one. So now let's move on to my coffee and tea cabinet. Okay, so I decided to do the tea separately, because the tea and coffee, because it's still in the kitchen, but it's in a somewhat separate area. You can see in my previous video on my eating and drinking ware in the kitchen what it looked like inside of this cabinet that I set aside for all of my tea and coffee. But I went ahead and pulled it all out so I can do a quick purge. Unfortunately, I know that I'm going to be having to part with a lot of this tea. I've been drinking tea on a regular basis since high school, coffee since high school as well. I just recently started drinking coffee again, only decaf. So I don't have as much coffee, but I've accumulated a lot of tea, especially loose leaf tea, over the years. And my tastes have changed especially after pregnancy. My taste in tea changed a lot. One of those weird pregnancy things, I guess. But unfortunately, I bought a lot of my favorites right before I got pregnant with my oldest, and haven't used them since then because I just can't palate them as well anymore. So I know that a lot of this tea is going to be gone. So let's go ahead and zoom in some, and we will go through. Okay, so let me go through this quickly. So my coffee is all over there, my coffee and my K-cups, because if you do have a Keurig, I don't use it quite as often. I've got right there just some freshly ground coffee. I try and use it within 24 hours, so it's just a lock and lock container with my stuff I ground yesterday and didn't use. I have one bag of caffeinated coffee that I use either for guests or for crafts, honestly. Two of my favorite Trader Joe's decaf whole bean coffees. In the bin there, I have a bunch of Newman's Own K-cups that I've had for a long time. I have loose ones in there are a decaf, and then I have a box with caffeinated, again for guests. And then right in front I have a few of the apple cider from Green Mountain Natural ones. So that is all of my coffee and K-cups. I got rid of a lot of my loose tea bags. Those are the ones that remain. I have some organic green tea and then a couple of Tazo teas that my husband really likes. He doesn't drink tea, but if he's really sick and his throat's hurting, then those are the only ones he will drink. So as far as my loose leaves, in addition, I've also got, as well as in other bags, I've got some peppermint tea from Whole Foods, Full Circle Organic Chamomile Tea. I've also got a huge bag that was up in the pantry that just doesn't fit in this, of chamomile loose leaf, that just doesn't fit in this cabinet. And then some Thirst Tamer Kids Tea that I got at Whole Foods. Honestly, I like just as much, but it's good iced for the kids as an alternative to fruit punch. I have just some tools for tea making down here, some scoops and diffusers. I have a bag of fenugreek leaves that this I'm honestly on the fence about. I think I need to start. I bought it to use to make fenugreek tea as to increase milk production, but I never really used it much. So I'm going to see if it's still good to use as spices as well, and just make a decision on that afterwards. I would still like to use this because I do like the taste of fenugreek tea. I just want to make sure that it's still good. I've got some decaf black tea, cream caramel. I have a rooibos strawberry, and then some other loose leaf ones, some from Tivana, some from local places. Adagio tea, their foxtrot tea is amazing. I love it. I especially love it iced. So those are the teas that I'm keeping. Here is all that I am purging. Let me zoom out. So a lot of loose leaf teas, especially of these stash fusions. I have a whole bunch of the red and white. I've also got a bunch of the green and white. I bought these when I was in college, and I drank a lot of them. It was one of my favorites for a long time, and so I stocked up apparently. I think they stopped carrying it, and so I stocked up before they stopped carrying it and just never drank them. Various loose leaf teas that I lost flavor, that I lost the taste for. Some black tea that I use to make my own tea mix, but I won't drink it by itself, and I didn't like the mix that I made that much. Unfortunately, a thing of expensive white tea, but again, that was old, and I prefer some of the flavored ones that I have. So all of this, sadly, will need to be trashed because it's older. I may see if I want to salvage some of the containers and take the labels off and rinse them out and use them for some of my loose leaves that are in bags, but we'll see how the space goes, because they definitely stave longer in these tins, but I don't know. So let me get it. Now, so moving on to the refrigerator and freezer. Let me open it up and show you what we're working with. Lots of leftovers going on right now. From recovering from my injury, we were eating out a lot more than we usually would. Alright. And then down into the freezer. Got some peaches that I've been processing. So because of the more fragile nature of these foods, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I am going to get things out, and I'm also going to be cleaning my refrigerator and freezer, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to film of actually having stuff out, just because I'm going to try and do it as quickly as possible. So you're going to get the gist of all of it, and I will be back either with stuff on the counter or with stuff back in the fridge all cleaned up. So, and there's the chime to say it's time to go. So I'll be right back. So refrigerator is empty, and if you look over here, this is where all of the food has ended up. So I'm going to start sorting through. I'm going to do the refrigerator first, and then the freezer, so that way stuff is out for less time. So let me get this all sorted and get the refrigerator cleaned out, and we will be back. So here's what is leaving the refrigerator. We've got some leftovers that need to go. There's just a little bit of granola, homemade granola left in there, so I'm going to empty that out. Obviously the containers are not going. Half a piece of cheese and a single slice. They're probably not great anymore. Some fast food sauces. This is just some jam that we got that I really don't like. We were on a trip and my husband wanted raspberry, and he doesn't eat sandwiches at home, so I'm not going to eat it because I don't like it. An empty container and an old slice of pizza, and then mostly just empty packaging, things that I consolidated or took out of packaging. And then some seed potatoes that I'm not going to grow this year, and I'm not sure that they're going to keep until the next year, so I'm going to do a little research on that. So now I'm going to move on to the freezer, and I will show you the finished product of the refrigerator and the freezer once we're done. Okay, so here's what came out of the freezer. A Frosty that my son didn't finish. Slightest little bit of frozen vegetables left. Heel of bread. And then some frozen entrees that are no longer good. So I get a lot of those for free from couponing, and so I get them because they're free, but I don't always eat them. My husband eats some. Those have been each about half full, but they've just really passed their prime. So this is my full purge for refrigerator and freezer. And again, I'm not combining with previous purges just because I had to do this over several days, and having old food out on the counter is just not a great idea. So this is just the purge from the refrigerator and freezer. So let's go then into the refrigerator. So this is all homemade jams and elderberry syrup, sauces, dressings, my son's water bottle so he can reach it easily, and whipped cream. We have lemon juice and orange juice, home brewed tea, and one of my son's water bottles, my son's lunch and thermos for tomorrow, leftovers that are going to go in my son's thermos the next day, my youngest son's sippy cup, a English muffin, then some yogurts and applesauces, and applesauce, then apple butter, and a toffee dip, homemade, and then we have our leftovers that we're going to eat in the next couple of days, and a couple of full water bottles back there. We like to always keep some water bottles because we do run out to the lake or to go sailing or go kayaking or something, and it's nice to just be able to grab them. And my husband's soda collection, a couple of water bottles, and Capri Suns. Here is apples and then pineapple juice that I used to soak them in to keep them from browning for school lunches. Some green beans. That's some salads. It's actually a weed, purslane, but it's good to use as a salad. And then half of an onion. Down here I've got more dairy, a bunch of butter, and this is a sage butter that I made, cheeses, and these are good to use for quick chicken pot pies, like cupcakes. So sometimes I'll do this instead of making mine from scratch. Nothing in there. Over here we have sauces, condiments and salsa and buttermilk, orange juice, a tea that my husband likes, cream and milk. And then down here we have just some more sauces, little packets. They're good for traveling and just to have on hand. My husband likes a lot of sauces. I don't really. So that is the refrigerator. It's very mad at me because it's been open so much. Let's go down to the freezer now. So we've got meats over here, as well as some frozen chili left over. And then this is breads and doughs and fruits frozen. We've got some vegetables. That's shredded zucchini to make bread with. And then some popsicles and freezer packs, ice packs. And at the top here we have bread. So this is just extra ice. This is another thing I got free couponing. My husband's been eating that as well. And then breads and leftover homemade pancakes that we'll have during the week for breakfast. And we don't have time to fix them from scratch. So there we go. I got all of the expired and unused stuff out, cleaned out the refrigerator. I need to figure out something to do better with these handprints on the front because my usual go-to cleaning stuff just does not work. There's a light if you can see it a little better. So if you have any tips, because I'm being driven absolutely nuts by it, that would be great. So again, here is the purge. And I am ready to move on to the final stage for the kitchen, which is the supplies, the cooking supplies and baking. As I said at the beginning of the video, I switched the order of those just because I wanted to go ahead and tackle the food. So stay tuned for that video coming up. Thanks for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you had fun looking through our cabinets and refrigerator and freezer. And I would love it if you would subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you again and have a wonderful day. Bye.